Hello friends. What happens when the unshakable Taurus meets the unpredictable monkey from the Chinese zodiac? You get a personality that's as fascinating as it is complex. Imagine grounding energy clashing and blending with playful chaos. It's like planting a wildflower in a fortress. It shouldn't work, but somehow it blooms into something rare and beautiful. Let's peel back the layers of this unique combo and explore what makes a Taurus born in the year of the monkey such a standout in love, friendship, business, and beyond. Love, the unexpected heart of a romantic trickster. On the surface, Taurus monkeys appear emotionally elusive, hard to read, hard to pin down, and often lost in a tangle of jokes, teasing, and confident flirtation. But underneath that charismatic exterior lies someone who feels deeply and loves fiercely. The monkey influence makes them witty, unpredictable, and endlessly entertaining. They're the kind of people who'll flirt like seasoned performers, turning even the simplest compliment into a mini performance. Taurus, on the other hand, brings grounding energy, sensuality, warmth, and a desire for stability. When these two energies combine, you get a person who craves a connection that feels both thrilling and secure. They're not afraid to banter and push buttons, but they're also incredibly devoted once they've opened their heart. Love, for them, is a slow-burning fire hidden inside a dazzling fireworks show. Their path to love isn't a straight line, it's a winding road of tests, playful mind games, and emotional checkpoints. The Taurus in them demands security, emotional maturity, and long-term vision. The monkey, meanwhile, needs excitement, laughter, and mental stimulation. They won't settle for a partner who's all sweetness with no spice. They want a relationship that makes them feel alive. When they meet someone who meets them on both the sensual and intellectual level, they begin to shift. The game playing stops, the sarcasm softens, and they let themselves be vulnerable, though always with a protective layer of humor, just in case. Once they say, "I love you," you can bet it was not said lightly. It's the culmination of deep introspection, late-night inner debates, and subtle tests passed with flying colors. They're not the type to fall in love at first sight, or at least, not to admit it. The monkey may catch a spark instantly, but Taurus reins them in, whispering, "Let's see if this is real." This cautious approach means they rarely leap without looking. They observe, they question, they pull back when things feel too fast, too chaotic. You might think they've lost interest when really, they're just in their head, analyzing how your energy blends with theirs. They want to know how you handle pressure, how you react to vulnerability, how honest you are about your own flaws. Only once you've shown consistency, over time, do they begin to reveal their truest, softest side. And when they do, it's like discovering a secret garden behind an elaborate maze. In relationships, they bring an intoxicating duality. One moment they're the calm, grounding presence who knows your coffee order and stocks your favorite snacks. The next, they're whispering outrageous ideas during a serious dinner party just to see you laugh. They're loyal to the core, but don't mistake that loyalty for passivity. If they feel disrespected or unappreciated, they'll shut down emotionally and retreat into the safe fortress of sarcasm. They need to feel seen and valued, not just for their dependability, but for their layered complexity. They thrive in relationships where there's room to grow, evolve, and even disagree. Respect and communication are non-negotiable. Without those, they'll entertain, perform, and distract, but never truly connect. When it comes to compatibility, not everyone is up for the challenge of loving a Taurus monkey. They require a rare mix of qualities in a partner: strength without dominance, humor without immaturity, stability without monotony. Earth signs like Virgo and Capricorn provide that strong foundation the Taurus in them craves. Fire signs like Leo can match the monkey's zest and challenge their minds while respecting their need for independence. The key is finding someone who embraces their contradictions without trying to fix them. A partner who lets them be both the anchor and the wild current. When they find this kind of connection, Taurus monkeys become some of the most committed, dynamic, and affectionate lovers in the zodiac. Love is no longer a performance, it becomes their most honest, beautiful act. Marriage, the balancing act between routine and surprise. Marriage to a Taurus monkey is like joining a symphony that occasionally breaks into jazz, structured, familiar, and harmonious on the surface, yet laced with moments of unexpected spontaneity. This unique personality blend thrives in a committed relationship but demands that commitment be textured with variety. Taurus brings the desire for domestic bliss, the kind that includes neatly folded towels, slow mornings, and shared silence. The monkey, however, disrupts any hint of monotony with impulsive ideas, playful provocations, and the occasional, let's paint the bedroom neon just because. They are drawn to the stability marriage offers but refuse to become prisoners of predictability. For them, the ideal marriage is a secure home base from which they can leap into the unknown, and come back with stories to tell. This push-pull between steadiness and novelty plays out in almost every aspect of their married life. They love rituals, Sunday morning pancakes, movie nights, annual holiday traditions, but they also love breaking those rituals with sudden getaways or experimental recipes at 2 a.m. The monkey side needs stimulation and variety, while Taurus craves comfort and reliability. It may sound like a contradiction, but this tension actually fuels their relationship. They bring laughter into everyday routines, and they bring planning into chaos. One moment, they're organizing the spice rack alphabetically. The next, they're suggesting you turn the living room into a fort. Their idea of romance is equal parts, I made your favorite dinner, and, I bought us tickets to a random city for the weekend, pack your bags. Their spouses never really know what's next, and that unpredictability becomes part of the magic. That said, getting to the altar with a Taurus monkey is no small feat. In the early stages, they're wary of anything that feels like a trap. Commitment is not something they leap into, it's something they negotiate internally over time. They may resist traditional timelines or show reluctance when the idea of settling down becomes too real, too fast. This isn't because they're afraid of love, it's because they're afraid of losing themselves. Marriage, to them, must be a partnership between equals, not a contract of control. Once they've worked through those internal doubts and feel emotionally safe, they commit deeply. At that point, they switch gears entirely, transforming into fiercely loyal, consistent, and nurturing spouses. The monkey's flexibility allows them to adapt to life's curveballs, while the Taurus gives them the endurance to stick through challenges. It's a powerful combination when matured. Even in the most harmonious marriages, Taurus monkeys can be a bit tricksy. They don't respond well to domination or micromanagement. If their spouse becomes overly rigid or starts issuing ultimatums, they'll nod politely and then proceed to do the opposite, sometimes with an extra flourish, just to make a point. Their resistance is rarely loud or confrontational. It's clever, quiet, and difficult to detect. They might agree to a household rule, then sidestep it with logic so intricate, you'll question whether the rule ever existed. This resistance is not about rebellion for rebellion's sake. It's about autonomy. They need to feel like equal contributors, not subordinates. A successful marriage with a Taurus monkey requires a foundation of mutual respect, humor, and a shared understanding that control kills joy. If you can co-create the rules of the relationship and keep things playful, you'll unlock a bond that grows deeper and more rewarding with each passing year. Ultimately, Taurus monkeys make surprisingly enduring life partners. They age well in love, not just physically, but emotionally. As the years pass, their youthful monkey charm doesn't fade, it just becomes more refined. And their Taurus-rooted reliability becomes stronger, anchoring the relationship even in turbulent times. They're the spouses who'll celebrate your anniversary with a home-cooked dinner and a spontaneous karaoke night. They'll be the ones fixing the leaky faucet while dreaming up your next big life adventure. Their version of marriage is an ever-evolving dance, part stability, part chaos, all commitment. For the right partner, someone who's ready for comfort wrapped in unpredictability, it's the kind of marriage that keeps surprising you, decade after decade. Sex, earthy meets electric. To understand what it's like to be intimate with a Taurus monkey is to understand contrast, two worlds colliding in the most electrifying way. On one side, Taurus offers deep sensuality, patience, and physical intuition. On the other, Monkey brings intellectual mischief, creative spontaneity, and wild exploration. When these energies combine in the bedroom, the result is a physical connection that feels both grounding and exhilarating. A Taurus monkey doesn't rush into intimacy lightly. They flirt, they tease, and they might even test your ability to match their pace. But once they decide you're worth their time, they pull you into an experience that's fully immersive, equal parts ritual and revolution. To them, sex isn't just a release, it's an ongoing story written in touch, sound, breath, and emotion. The Taurus in them is all about slow, deliberate connection. They are highly attuned to the sensory world: velvet sheets, flickering candlelight, the scent of skin warmed by affection. Foreplay, to them, is not a prelude but a symphony of its own. They understand the power of anticipation. They'll linger in a single kiss, trace your skin with intent, and savor every reaction like a connoisseur sampling rare wine. Meanwhile, the monkey injects bursts of surprise into this slow dance: sudden roleplay, suggestive banter, unexpected twists in rhythm or setting. They might go from gentle caresses to playful biting in seconds. This fusion of earth and air turns their lovemaking into a blend of choreography and improvisation, where each moment unfolds naturally but never predictably. It keeps things thrilling, without sacrificing intimacy. What sets Taurus monkeys apart in the bedroom is their awareness. They aren't just present, they're watching, feeling, and learning you. They pay attention to what makes you sigh, what makes you squirm, and what makes you laugh mid-moment. They want to know how you move, breathe, surrender. Then they'll use that knowledge to elevate every future encounter. You might think you've discovered all their tricks, but they're always one step ahead, always reinventing the experience. This playful intelligence transforms physicality into something artistic and personal. Even their humor, which might seem like a distraction at first, is a tool for connection. It lowers defenses, dissolves awkwardness, and deepens trust. They want sex to be sacred, but never too serious. Emotionally, Taurus monkeys crave depth, but only when they feel safe enough to express it. They may joke around or keep things light at first, especially if vulnerability scares them. But beneath the humor and experimentation lies a longing for something real. They want intimacy that feels soulful, where laughter and passion can coexist. For them, true eroticism comes from connection. When they're with someone they trust, their sensual side blossoms into something almost devotional. They become generous lovers, attentive, responsive, and deeply committed to their partner's pleasure. Sex becomes more than a physical act. It becomes a form of emotional communication, where every touch says, "I see you, I value you, I want all of you." Casual flings don't come naturally to Taurus monkeys, at least not without emotional distance or a deliberate detachment. While the monkey might enjoy the novelty or thrill of a spontaneous affair, the Taurus within them will eventually seek something with substance. Even in short-term encounters, they're looking for a spark of real connection. They need to feel something to stay engaged. Without that, their passion fades quickly, and they retreat into themselves, leaving a trail of puzzled admirers wondering what went wrong. But when the chemistry is real, when there's mental stimulation, emotional alignment, and physical attraction all in one, they become fiercely devoted, and sex becomes a sacred space of renewal, exploration, and joy. With a Taurus monkey, true intimacy isn't just possible, it's inevitable and unforgettable. Friendship, the life of the party, and the secret therapist. Being friends with a Taurus monkey is like owning a season pass to a roller coaster that also serves gourmet coffee and gives out life advice. They are a rare breed, able to be the loudest laugh in the room and the quietest listener in the dark. On the surface, they're the party starter, the social spark plug who gets everyone dancing, makes outrageous bets, and delivers stories so dramatic they feel scripted. But beneath all the showmanship is someone deeply tuned in to the emotional frequencies of the people around them. A Taurus monkey doesn't just make you laugh, they feel your energy. They know when you're faking a smile. They notice your pauses, and they're the ones who will text you after a group hang just to say, "Hey, you okay?" Their presence is a gift. They're the friends who throw glitter into your life, and then sit with you in the quiet aftermath, helping you sort it all out. They are the kind of friend who shows up in layers. First, you meet the jokester, the socialite, the storyteller who makes everyone feel included with their quick wit and wild charisma. But spend time with them one-on-one, and you discover something far deeper. A steady, grounded soul who listens without judgment and speaks with surprising wisdom. The Taurus side makes them reliable. You can call them in a crisis and know they'll actually answer. They'll show up with your favorite snacks and a plan. Meanwhile, the monkey side ensures they don't just comfort you, they inspire you. They challenge your assumptions, offer unexpected perspectives, and push you to evolve. They might clown around at brunch, but when the sun sets and the real conversations begin, they become the secret therapist you didn't know you had. They hold space with humor and heart. Loyalty, for the Taurus monkey, is sacred, but not automatic. They don't trust easily. Before you're accepted into their inner circle, they'll observe. They'll test you, not maliciously, but carefully. They want to know how you react under pressure, whether you can handle their emotional depth, and most importantly, whether you can be trusted with them. Because once you're in, you're really in. They treat their closest friends like chosen family. They'll defend you, support your dreams, and go to ridiculous lengths to lift you up. Forget just remembering your birthday. They'll remember your coffee order from 5 years ago and remind you of your worth when you've forgotten it yourself. But loyalty is a two-way street with them. Betray them, and you'll feel the chill of 1,000 sarcastic remarks that cut deeper than silence ever could. Protectiveness runs in their blood. They don't just have your back, they're already strategizing ways to dismantle anyone who's wronged you. Their methods? Not always direct. The Taurus in them doesn't rush to confrontation, but the monkey? Oh, they know how to play the long game. You might not even know they've avenged you until months later, when your enemy mysteriously gets snubbed at a party or loses their group chat privileges. It's subtle, it's clever, and it's always a little funny, because humor is their weapon of choice. Their loyalty can feel like armor, their humor like a sword. And when they really love you, they won't just protect your heart, they'll teach you how to protect it yourself. But let's be honest, they're not perfect. The monkey part of their personality doesn't thrive in predictability. If things get too routine, too emotionally heavy, or too serious for too long, they may vanish. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. They might stir up minor drama just to shake the energy, or disappear into their own world for days, only to return like nothing happened, holding a weird snack you've never tried and acting as if their ghosting was just a quirky break. It can be frustrating, confusing, even hurtful. But more often than not, they circle back, tail between their legs, full of apologies wrapped in self-deprecating jokes and charming stories of why they vanished. And when they do, it's hard to stay mad, because even in their messiness, they bring so much light. In the end, being friends with a Taurus monkey means accepting duality. You get the chaos and the calm, the jest and the depth, the vanisher and the ride or die. But above all, you get realness. A friend who shows up for you, not just when things are fun, but when they're falling apart. They may hide behind humor, but when it counts, they'll hand you their full heart, unguarded and true. And that, in this world, is a rare and beautiful thing. Business, the quiet strategist in a loud suit. In the world of business, the Taurus monkey is a walking paradox, and that's exactly what makes them so dangerous in the best possible way. They're not loud in the traditional sense, but they know how to command attention. Their presence in a boardroom is electric, not because they shout, but because they know. They know when to speak, what to say, and how to say it in a way that lingers. On paper, Taurus monkeys are natural-born hustlers, not the shady, cut-corners kind, but the type who sees potential in things others overlook. They understand the architecture of success. They can take a half-baked idea and turn it into a structured business plan, marketing funnel, or scalable platform. But they don't stop there. They also know how to add a touch of flair, injecting originality and charm into even the driest of spreadsheets. They turn work into a performance without ever losing grip on the strategy behind the scenes. The Taurus side of them is laser-focused on building a foundation, something that lasts. They want to create businesses that have weight, credibility, and long-term security. They care about legacy, ownership, and concrete results. Give them a slow burn project, and they'll nurture it into a thriving empire over time. But then there's the monkey, constantly hungry for stimulation, recognition, and speed. The monkey doesn't want to wait 10 years for a win. It wants viral moments, flashy launches, quick traction, and that dopamine hit of being admired. The conflict between building slow and winning fast creates a beautiful tension. They work like seasoned architects, but they decorate like avant-garde designers. They want the skyscraper and the fireworks, and surprisingly often, they get both. In the workplace, they're a rare hybrid, both the visionary and the executor. They don't just pitch bold ideas, they back them with timelines, projections, prototypes, and solutions. While others are still brainstorming, they've already created a deck, filed an LLC, and scheduled a soft launch. That's the Taurus efficiency at play, slow, steady, and precise. Meanwhile, the monkey breathes life into the project. They give it flavor, narrative, and visual appeal. This makes them incredibly valuable on teams, if they stay long enough. Truth is, Taurus monkeys don't enjoy working under someone else's thumb for too long. Even if they're not the boss yet, they'll operate as if they are. They question inefficient systems. They push for innovation. They quietly take control of projects and shift the energy without needing a title. Eventually, the urge to branch out and create their own thing becomes irresistible. Career-wise, they thrive in fields that allow duality. They need structure, but not micromanagement. Freedom, but not chaos. Roles in marketing, branding, entrepreneurship, financial strategy, user experience, or even politics suit them well. They shine wherever there's a chance to blend numbers with nuance, logic with emotion, or systems with storytelling. Their ideal workspace isn't a cubicle, it's a canvas. Give them space to think and tools to execute, and you'll get brilliance. Box them in with rigid protocols and outdated hierarchies, and you'll lose them, or worse, you'll bore them into rebellion. They need to feel like they're building something that reflects them. That's when their true genius is unleashed. And here's where it gets even more interesting: they're masters of influence. Not in the loud, aggressive way that demands attention, but in the subtle, persuasive way that makes you think you came up with their idea. The monkey knows how to charm, disarm, and read the temperature of a room within seconds. The Taurus side uses that information with surgical precision. They can negotiate without making you feel pressured. They can flip a hostile investor meeting by turning on that signature wit and grounding it with facts. They are strategic communicators who know that tone, timing, and presentation are everything. If business were a poker game, they'd have a face you couldn't read in a handful of aces. But their ambition isn't without cost. The constant tug of war between the Taurus need for slow, methodical progress and the monkey's craving for rapid stimulation can lead to burnout. They often operate in extremes, hyper-productive weeks followed by complete emotional exhaustion. The monkey will say yes to everything for the thrill of movement, while the Taurus silently resents the overload. If they don't learn to balance their pace, they risk cycling between creative highs and destructive lows. Time management and self-care aren't luxuries for Taurus monkeys, they're essential strategies for survival. They need environments that encourage both discipline and play, deadlines with flexibility, freedom with feedback. They thrive when they have something to build and space to breathe. In business, the Taurus monkey is a powerhouse hidden behind a charming grin and an unassuming demeanor. They don't need to dominate the room, they steer it. Quietly, efficiently, brilliantly. They're the strategists who think in empires and the creatives who sell with stories. They're the kind of professionals who might joke during meetings, but don't be fooled. They're always 5 steps ahead, calculating, adjusting, and paving a path no one else saw coming. Work with one, and you'll grow. Compete with one, and you'll sweat. Underestimate one, and you'll lose. Dark sides, the clever, stubborn saboteur. Every sign has its shadows, but when the earthy weight of Taurus meets the cunning brilliance of the monkey, the result is a storm that simmers rather than explodes, one that hides in plain sight. The dark side of a Taurus monkey doesn't immediately announce itself. It creeps in quietly, masked by charm, humor, and seeming composure. But underneath that composed exterior lies a potent cocktail of pride, insecurity, and an almost compulsive need to stay in control. When they feel threatened, whether by rejection, stagnation, or failure, they don't lash out recklessly. Instead, they calculate, they plot, they internalize everything until their emotions become weapons, both against others and themselves. Their version of darkness isn't always loud. It's strategic, which makes it that much harder to detect, and that much more destructive. The first red flag? Manipulation dressed up as wit. When a Taurus monkey begins to feel emotionally unsafe or unappreciated, they often fall back on sarcasm, passive aggression, or carefully veiled criticisms. Their words can sting, but they'll cloak them in humor so artfully that you might second-guess your own reaction. They can deflect vulnerability with a joke, derail accountability with a story, or disarm confrontation by pretending not to care. But they care, a lot. They just can't always express it healthily. If things get too emotionally heavy, they may withdraw entirely, walling themselves off behind excuses, busyness, or needing space. This emotional retreat is often a coping mechanism, not cruelty, but it can still leave those close to them feeling confused or abandoned. They struggle with direct confrontation not because they fear conflict, but because they fear exposure of their weaknesses, their shame, their fears of inadequacy. Failure is their unspoken nemesis. The Taurus in them craves accomplishment, legacy, and long-term recognition. The monkey seeks rapid wins, public praise, and novelty. When either of those needs go unmet, they enter a dark spiral. But rather than admit defeat, they often rewrite the narrative in their heads. They tell themselves it wasn't their fault, that they were sabotaged, that they meant to walk away. It's a protective illusion, but one that ultimately isolates them. Their ego, especially when wounded, makes it incredibly difficult for them to take feedback. The Taurus side digs in, doubling down even when wrong. Meanwhile, the monkey crafts elaborate, logical-sounding justifications for their behavior. These excuses can sound so reasonable, so smart, that they even convince themselves. But this denial keeps them stuck. They become architects of their own limitations, building invisible walls with brilliance they could have used to break free. One of their most insidious habits is holding on to grudges under the guise of humor. You'll hear them make a biting remark, deliver a joke that hits too close to home, or bring up an old wound in a way that's funny, until it's not. They rarely forget a slight, and they don't always forgive. Instead of direct revenge, they may opt for subtle undermining, withdrawing support, withholding affection, or using their social charm to influence others' opinions. This silent warfare is more damaging than open conflict, because it corrodes trust without clarity. Their resentment builds quietly, fed by their own overthinking and perfectionism. And the longer it simmers, the more difficult it becomes for them to separate real issues from imagined offenses. They can become trapped in loops of overanalysis, justifying behavior that pushes people away while blaming those very people for not understanding them. Another shadow in their psyche is a fixation on status and admiration. The monkey's love of attention mixed with Taurus' desire for material security can create a deep attachment to appearances. They may obsess over how others perceive their success, style, intelligence, or accomplishments. They can become overly focused on achievements that look good rather than feel good, chasing validation through external metrics, likes, followers, titles, luxury, applause. Their self-worth gets tied up in being seen as exceptional, which makes them vulnerable to insecurity when the spotlight fades. When they feel unseen or undervalued, they can spiral into comparison, envy, or performative success, putting up a confident front while crumbling internally. This obsession with image can make them emotionally unavailable, especially if they begin to believe that love or friendship is conditional on being impressive. Yet, despite these shadows, or perhaps because of them, Taurus monkeys have the potential to grow into profoundly self-aware, emotionally intelligent beings. Their darkness is not immovable. In fact, when they finally do turn inward with honesty and courage, they can unravel years of defensive behaviors in astonishingly short time. Their intellect, when used for healing instead of hiding, becomes a tool for transformation. They start to see their patterns. They stop running from discomfort and start learning from it. And when they allow themselves to be seen, not just admired, but truly known, they tap into a kind of personal power that's magnetic, humble, and indestructible. They become not just strategists and entertainers, but leaders and healers. The key is vulnerability. When Taurus monkeys stop hiding behind jokes and start showing up raw and real, their relationships deepen, their creativity expands, and their resilience becomes unstoppable. Their darkness, once acknowledged, becomes fuel for greatness. And what once sabotaged them becomes their greatest source of strength. Life purpose: building with passion, living with flair. The life purpose of a Taurus monkey is a dance between two seemingly opposing forces: stability and spontaneity, patience and urgency, structure and rebellion. While most people are born leaning toward one side of that spectrum, Taurus monkeys were born to walk the tightrope in between. Their journey is not about eliminating contradictions, but harnessing them. These individuals are here to turn complexity into power. Life constantly invites them to integrate the grounded realism of Taurus with the wild, curious energy of the monkey. When they manage to do this, they become unstoppable creators, people who can build things that last while making the process feel like a daring, exciting adventure. Their purpose is never to simply follow the blueprint. It's to improve it, personalize it, and make sure it's got a bit of sparkle along the way. They are builders at heart, but what they build isn't limited to the physical. While some may indeed construct successful businesses, beautiful homes, or wealth portfolios, others are more concerned with building legacies of a different kind: relationships, movements, communities, or entirely new systems of thought. They are bridge makers, blending traditional values with visionary ideas. They might start a grassroots organization and then scale it into a national platform. They might design a business that supports others emotionally, financially, or creatively. The key is that whatever they create must mean something. It must endure. Taurus gives them the patience to lay strong foundations, while the monkey keeps them from getting stuck in a rut. Their greatest contributions come from knowing when to follow the rules, and when to rewrite them entirely. Their life journey teaches them one of the hardest lessons of all: patience, especially with themselves. The monkey inside them wants everything yesterday. It craves validation, stimulation, progress, and action. But Taurus speaks a different language, one that emphasizes process, rhythm, and time-tested results. The tension between these two drives often creates inner conflict, moments of self-doubt, burnout, or dissatisfaction even in the midst of success. They may feel torn between wanting to leap ahead and needing to slow down. Their growth depends on embracing this inner push and pull. They must learn how to sit with discomfort, how to delay gratification, and how to nurture themselves during the slower seasons of life. When they do, they unlock a deeper kind of wisdom, the kind that allows them to move through the world with both ambition and grace. It's common for Taurus monkeys to take a winding path before finding their true calling. They might try 5 different careers, travel across continents, or dive into various passion projects before something finally clicks. And that's exactly how it's supposed to go. These individuals are not built for cookie-cutter careers or one-size-fits-all paths. They need experience. They need detours. Every job, every failed relationship, every wrong turn is actually a necessary part of their soul's education. When they finally find the one, that job, that mission, that purpose, they commit with a quiet but fierce determination. They're not showy about it, but you can feel the shift. They dig in, they devote themselves, and they evolve from curious wanderers into focused, dynamic changemakers who make every step count. Their true legacy is how they embody paradox and inspire others to do the same. Taurus monkeys prove that you can be both serious and silly, stable and spontaneous, traditional and revolutionary. They reject the idea that you have to choose between being loyal and being free. Instead, they show the world how to be both. Their lives become blueprints for integrated living, proof that you can build a life you love without sacrificing fun, that you can chase dreams without losing your footing, and that you can take life seriously without ever losing your spark. They don't just talk about balance, they live it, often after years of learning how to juggle, fall, and rise again. That earned wisdom is what makes them unforgettable. So, yes, you can be strategic and still be playful. You can crave structure and still thrive in chaos. You can build with passion and live with flair. If you're a Taurus monkey, your life purpose isn't about choosing sides, it's about creating harmony where others see contradiction. And in doing so, you light the way for everyone else who's trying to find that same sweet spot between discipline and delight. Your presence reminds people that it's okay to be complicated, that life doesn't have to be either or, that the real magic happens in the end. And that, dear reader, is the quiet genius of the Taurus monkey.